There's only one way to start this episode, Caroline. Are we thinking the same thing?
There's only one. There's Obi-Wan way to start this episode.
That's good enough. This is
No,
episode
no, no.
37 of the Elbow Nudge podcast.
What was your idea?
You didn't know what I was going to say?
No, I didn't.
There's only one way, for real. Well, that was a great way, though. I'm gonna leave it at that. But come on, it's obvious. You don't got it?
Nope.
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
That's it. What better greeting for this episode?
Amazing. I love it.
Yours was better. Yours was better. Round of applause.
No.
Caroline, there's a lot to go over today.
It's our first TV show that we're covering.
This is our first show after 37 episodes. This is first time talking Star Wars after
I know
how big it is.
First time talking about Star Wars. Huge Star Wars fans here.
Yeah.
We love it.
We need to start right there. What are our credentials? We need to tell the people. What's your history with Star Wars? What's my history with Star Wars?
Easy. I've been a Star Wars fan my whole life.
You've been Kenobi? Sorry, it's late. I won't do that anymore. That's fine.
So what? Hey, if I got a chance to pun, you get an opportunity to pun.
All right, continue.
Now I have it in my head. I've been a Star Wars fan my whole life. I think when I was a kid, I was only ever allowed to watch two types of films: Bible movies and Star Wars, and I always chose Star Wars. So yeah,
and even some of them might be considered. I mean,
they're practically Bible movies.
Did you see how Obi-Wan looks in episode 2?
Oh yeah, it was Jesus. That was the thing. Episode 2 was the first movie I ever saw in theaters. I think I was 7 years old, and my uncle took us to the theater. Of course, with my mom and my grandma, but my uncle was like, "They've never been to the theater? What? Let's go." And so
Can I interrupt you for a quick question?
Yeah.
Since we're on the topic, and I've been wanting to ask you this. I've been waiting for this to ask you.
Okay.
What's your favorite evolved form of Obi-Wan? Is it Rat Tail Kenobi, Jesus Christ Kenobi, Golden Beard Kenobi, or Old Man Kenobi?
Golden Beard Kenobi.
Same here. I agree.
He looks so good. I mean,
that's his peak.
That's absolutely his peak. Absolutely. Jesus Christ Kenobi is a close second. But actually, no, I think I would say Golden Beard, Old Man Kenobi, and then Jesus Kenobi, and then Rat Tail.
Really? So you like the way he looked in the show?
I do, yeah. I like Old Man Kenobi.
Could we say Old D1 Kenobi?
Oh.
Or is that too much puns for this?
No, that's not enough. Oldie Kenobi. Oldie-One Kenobi.
Please go on with the rest of your story.
Elder One Kenobi. Eldie.
Elden Ring Kenobi?
Oh, Elden Ring.
Obi-Wan.
This is why we can't record late.
This is so dumb.
This is what happens to us.
Obi-Wan.
Oh,
Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. I was thinking that because of Obi-Wan.
I promise we saw this show. It's not just gonna be this.
We did. I watched it every day, every night really. It would premiere at 2 a.m. on Disney Plus, and I would watch it. For you, it was more of like, "Hey Tony, I really want to do this episode for the pod. Like, I want to do this show for the podcast. Can you watch Obi-Wan Kenobi?"
I was like, okay.
Yeah, okay. You gotta do the Boba Fett. Yep.
Oh, yep. Oh, we got to do all the memes.
There's
too many.
Bust out prequel memes as much as you can.
Caroline, but we will try.
It's a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one.
Please continue.
So where was I at? Star Wars credentials, but yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Love it.
Episode 2 was the first one you saw in theaters. That's what you said.
Yep. Episode 2, first movie I ever saw in theaters. I fell in love with the movies from a young age. And, I was watching a podcast and they were talking about how the host attended a wedding that was Star Wars themed. And the producer was like, "Oh wow, they still had a Star Wars wedding. Like the sequels didn't ruin it for them." And the guy was like, "No, like they're still very much into Star Wars." And that's kind of how I feel. Like the sequels are a disappointment overall, but I'm still so much in love with the world and the lore and everything that Star Wars has to give.
We'll get into that a little bit more because, yeah, I agree with that.
It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, yeah.
What about yourself? Give me your Star Wars credentials, mister.
All right. So, as you already know, but I will tell the listeners, I didn't grow up watching Star Wars. I think the first time
Bum,
I saw
bum,
it, I
bum.
know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But you got to know where I'm coming from when we talk about this show. I think I saw, as a fully functioning adult, I saw, am I? No, young adult. Let's say young adult. I think I
Fully
was 16.
functioning young adult.
I had a brain that could remember things. Because you know what? I'm pretty sure I saw episode 3 in theaters. I'm pretty sure that was my first movie.
Ooh,
And I thought it was cool, but then I completely forgot it. And in fact, I remember when it ended, Darth Vader was being assembled, right?
assembled.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is awesome. Now we're going to see Darth Vader. And then the movie ended.
No. Wait, what? Oh, okay.
That's the
Yeah.
end of the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we're going to see Vader now. But no. So I knew nothing about Star Wars. That was my first Star Wars movie that I saw in theaters, and I
Wow.
forgot.
Wow.
Then fast forward, and I think I really saw it with a functioning brain when I was at least 17, probably. And it was my friends who introduced it to me because there's a lot of movies I missed out on at the time, and I was getting caught up. Star Wars was one of them, the whole franchise. And yeah, so I didn't have nostalgia, and I didn't have the prequel meme power behind it either. I really gravitated towards the prequels because I saw it. That's another interesting thing too. We need to talk about that. Like I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I didn't see four,
Whoa.
five, six, 1, 2, 3. So I really liked the prequels when I saw them. I
You
thought
saw
like
them in the order George intended.
right, and I thought they were great. And I was stuck on it for a while. Like I would just rewatch the battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and sometimes I would just fast forward to when Obi-Wan is yelling, "You are my brother, Anakin. I love you." I love that part.
I hate
I love that whole conversation. I think is even better than the fight.
you.
But
You were
yeah,
the chosen one. So this show must have hit all those sweet spots in a way, huh?
it hit some sweet spots. It did. Uh,
Mm.
so
Okay.
should we get into that now? Now, what's our thoughts on this show now?
Okay. I really like it, but I'm dying to know what you thought of this show because I'm a shill. I think I've said it before. I'm a Star Wars shill. I think with just the exception of episodes, the movies, episode 7 and no, I'm sorry, 8 and 9. I love everything Star Wars, and this show is just such a. I consume everything about it. I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's just one of the best characters in all of Star Wars, and then an amazing people behind it, good writing for the most part. I think there's some like nitpicks I can bring up later on, but I really like it. But I have a lot of that Star Wars love in it, and for you, I'm a little bit unsure. So I really wanted to know what you thought about this show.
Okay, I'll let you know. Watching it episode by episode, I will say I wasn't into it too much. And then there's some moments where it spiked for me. And we're gonna jump around, of course, but I'll tell you the spikes. When Obi-Wan caught Leia, I really liked that. I was like, oh, that was very good. And then I liked when Darth was burning Obi-Wan in the fire. I thought that was awesome.
Oh yeah.
And then it was just like kind of like meandering for me, like, uh. But then when it gets to the fight that we're all waiting to see, pretty much the whole purpose of the show,
Oh yeah.
Darth versus Obi-Wan, I felt like, whoa, is this show actually amazing? And then once that fight was over, I was like, oh, well, that was awesome. I was ready to click off. I'm like, oh, wait, there's like another 20 or 25 minutes left to the show. Like
Yeah.
I was so impressed with that small section. I'm like, man, that was so good. It was so good. But for the most part, I feel like kind of how I feel with Marvel shows, and I wouldn't want to talk about it some more, where I just feel like it's just enough to not call it bad. Like I can't call this bad, but it's like I wish there was more. I wish there was
More
more
of the
to it.
good.
I wish it was like a little bit deeper. I wish it felt like the last fight was earned. Just more things like that. But I'll leave it like that, vague for the general opinion on it. I felt like it was good enough.
I accept that. I can see that. One of the things that I kind of wanted to express was while I do love the show, I do feel like it didn't need 6 episodes. It could have been cut down. It was originally supposed to be a movie, I believe. But with like the failure of Solo and the success of Mandalorian, Disney was like, "Oh, shows. That's what we need to do. We need to do
Yes,
shows.
only shows.
Only shows. No movies, just shows." So, I think that that's why we got Obi-Wan as a TV series. Now, there are like episodes that are really good, but out of the 6, I really only remember 3 of them that were so good. And that's the first 2 and the last episode. Those are, I think, stand out really good. But then once you get to like episode 3, 4, and 5, it's a little bit there's this one though I should take out of that generalization. Which one was it? It's the episode where
What's the scene that happens in the episode?
it's where Vader grabs the ship with his force
Uh,
and pulls it down.
I think that was 5.
That episode, the way it's told is so poetic. It starts with a flashback with Obi-Wan and Anakin when Anakin's still a Padawan, and we see the plot now mirroring their sparring session when they were still master and Padawan, and it's just that was such a beautifully told episode. I thought that that was really well done. How Obi-Wan still knows Anakin and Darth Vader is still Anakin inside all that. It was just so cool to me how that was told.
It's impressive how they captured the bad CGI of the prequels and made it look good, but still you could tell it's a bad CGI in those
Yeah.
flashbacks.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
they they were pulling out some 40 Star Wars chests
It
there,
was like
man.
they remastered the bad CGI.
They were like, "Oh, you remember that bad CGI? We're bringing it
Well,
back."
now it's good. I don't know how they did it. Could we start there too? Like the very beginning of the show starts with like a huge recap of the prequels.
Yeah. Oh man. After we watched episode 1 of Obi-Wan, we went and saw episode 3. And it was just it really gives you the full rundown of Anakin and Obi-Wan and Order 66 and all that.
What did you think now? Like it's so weird. I want to ask you about this because I feel like it's not. It feels like a long time, but it really wasn't that long ago when the prequels were hated by everybody, and it sucked. And they made this recap. Well, obviously the memes and all that, and time has passed, and new generations are watching. But they made this recap look like this trilogy is like the most thought provoking, emotional,
Beloved.
dramatic, yeah, beloved trilogy of movies. And it's so weird. It's so funny that we're here now and they could do that. But yeah, what do you think about this now?
It's such an interesting shift in opinion with the Star Wars fan base because you're so right that and I really think it has to do with the sequels. I think the sequels really pivoted this kind of mob mentality that a lot of people had towards the prequels where it's like, oh, we hate these sequels so much. It's like I wish they were like the prequels. The prequels are good movies in comparison to the sequels. But then you have people that like prequel memes. Prequel memes I think are a huge saving grace to the prequels themselves because like I think it was for May the 4th. Davey and I watched episode 2 and we were like, no, this is so drawn out. Even the Lego games glance over episode 2.
Yeah, it's not that good.
They're not that great, but it's just so interesting how they're thought back on so fondly. And I think it's just because now a lot of the people like you and I that grew up when those movies were in theaters as kids, like I saw episode 2 in theaters and I loved it. And I didn't think like, oh, this is too much politics. I definitely want to know the in-depth political climate of Naboo at 7 years old. But I didn't think of that. I thought, I'm watching Star Wars, I'm watching Yoda fight Count Dooku, like, all that stuff.
But you've seen the original trilogy before going to theaters and watching episode 2?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know. I think it's just like a lot of the people that were kids when they saw the prequels and thought they were cool, even though the adults were telling them like, "Oh, the prequels are so bad. What were they thinking?" Blah. We grew up and we're like, "They're still pretty funny. They're still pretty good." And Disney is like, "We got you. We got you."
Yeah, I think that ties in a little bit to what you were mentioning before and what I wanted to ask you, where we've spoken about how you have certain expectations if you're following whatever media, books, movies, shows. And if you grew up with the original trilogy, that's the bar and that's the standard. But if you grew up with the prequel trilogy, that's that bar and that's how you see Star Wars and is not that bad. And you kind of take them all in as one, all 6 episodes. And then seeing the sequels, the people who saw the first 6 is like, oh no, that's really bad. That sucks. That's not Star Wars. But we were also saying how newer generations, if they see those Star Wars first with Rey and Poe and Finn, that's going to be Star Wars for them, and they're going to love that, and that's going to be
Yeah.
just fine. And I feel like that's where we're at with Star Wars. It's just varying degrees of quality, and in order to get enjoyment out of it, I think you just gotta accept that it's probably never going to be like the original trilogies anymore because that was made at that time. We love it for what it is, and now we're getting whatever this is now. It's just, I feel like you got to take it for what it is, and just you can't hold it to that bar anymore. I don't think we'll reach that bar anymore.
That's so true, and I think that that's been my own kind of opinion with Star Wars. Like, I'm not like, I don't watch everything. I don't watch like The Bad Batch. I didn't watch Rebels, but I watched like The Mandalorian. Definitely gonna watch Ahsoka. I watched Obi-Wan Kenobi. All these Star Wars stuff that they put out there, they all feel different, but they have just enough of that home feeling that Star Wars brings that the original trilogy gave me. One of the things that brought that feeling in Obi-Wan was the music. The score is very sweeping and it's done by, I think her name is Natalie Wood. She did the composition for Natalie Holt, my bad. And she is actually a protege. She studied under John Williams, and so she did some of the music in Loki, and I remember Loki had some pretty cool there was a scene where I don't want to spoil Loki for
Don't
anybody,
spoil
but
Loki. Don't spoil Loki.
there's a scene that Tony, I'm trying to describe it vaguely to you, where he's behind like in a purple space setting, and everything's
Right.
hitting him at once. And so the music, I remember hearing that music and being like, wow, that sounds beautiful. And then I looked up the composer and I was like, oh, she's gonna do the music for Obi-Wan. How interesting. And yeah, it showed that she worked under John Williams, and then John Williams did the theme song for Obi-Wan. He was like, I never did a theme song. Everybody, if you're a Star Wars fan, everybody's got like a specific theme. And Obi-Wan didn't have a specific theme. So he took the time to create the theme song for Obi-Wan. And so the music really helped ground me in this show. I felt like, oh man, this feels like I feel a little bit of old Star Wars in this. It feels like classic Star Wars. Now, in some of the episodes, obviously, that doesn't relay the same thing, but when you hear that opening theme of Obi-Wan, it definitely, like, I was like, here we go. About to see Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, I you just confirmed it, but I did think they brought back John Williams for at least some of the show.
I think I'm trying to remember if he announced his retirement, but he did say he was gonna his last official work is gonna be on the Indiana Jones film that's in production. And
Oh.
then that's it. Like, he's done. So this is the last Star Wars we're ever gonna hear from him.
I thought that was supposed to be episode 7, and then I thought it was supposed to be episode 9
I think a lot of people thought that episode 9 was gonna be his last.
without him confirming it.
Yeah, he never told people like, "Oh, that's it. After 9, I'm done." Like, but it was always thought because he was already like, I think 87 at that time. And so, because he's 90 now. And it's like, hey, John.
That's amazing.
Yeah. To still have so much creativity and that talent, and he's still at it is just wow.
He's keeping his mind strong.
Yeah, he is. With all that.
Probably doesn't look things up and just tries to remember it.
Are you digging at me? It's in a Star Wars
Maybe
episode.
a little bit. Maybe
How
a little bit.
dare you?
All right, I'll pull back.
You are my brother, Tony. I loved you.
All
You.
right. I'm not gonna quote "I hate you" because I just said I'll pull back.
But you know what? Let's get to some of these characters because this show did introduce some new characters.
Where do you want to start? Hopefully, the one that I like.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, I did like one.
Who did you like?
Let's see. Which one are you gonna start with?
Let's start with Princess Leia.
Hated her.
No.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Little Princess Leia is so cute. I love her so much. She is adorable. And also, she says thank you, please and thank you to her robots. She's my kind of girl.
Very relatable to you.
Very relatable.
Very.
I knew it. I knew I wasn't the only person that did that. Princess Leia does it too. Ah, yeah.
If there were droids in the real world that spoke to me like that, I would be kind. But that scene did make me think maybe I'm a little rude to Alexa. Sometimes I interrupt Alexa. You know, she's telling me the weather and then she goes on a little bit. I'm like, all right, that's it. All right, Alexa, turn off.
I was having a phone call with a friend and I hear him shout, Alexa, stop.
Yeah. So I'm not the only one. I think there's a lot of rudeness with Alexa. I think she talks a little bit too much.
I do not have any Alexas, but I do have a Siri. And I'm never rude to my Siri.
All right. Maybe I might change that now. I agree. They got a cute little child actress to be Leia, and I think she did a great job. I only want to say one nitpick about it and just move on from that.
All right.
I feel like they gave her a few too many lines that were too mature for her. And I know they're trying to go for, to hint, or not even hint, but just show that she's the Princess Leia that we know. She's sassy and independent, and she's like, she could stand up for herself. So they give her lines where she's like very clever. But I feel like the way it was written, I didn't write down all of them, but off the top of my head, I could just remember some scenes where it's like, I think this was written for like an adult. I don't think a 10-year-old kid would say it, no matter how smart they're supposed to be. And just the lines of, well, like the way she was talking to her cousin, and she did like a full therapy breakdown of his actions, and she's like, I think you're scared. I think you quote your dad because you want to be just like him and you want people to fear you, but the truth is you're scared of never living up to him or whatever she tells him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, I get where they're going with her, but I want her to just be a kid for the majority of it. And then other lines where it's like she's being mind controlled by Reva, and then she's like, are we having a staring contest? And it's funny, but I don't know if a kid will say things like that.
I think it would just be more of like a what are you doing kind of thing.
Yeah, like, are we done? Or like, just something like that.
Yeah.
And just another random throwaway one. Again, these are nitpicks. When she has to like hack into the vent and like rewire things near the end.
It took her so long to do that.
Yeah, it did. And they're like, oh, they're talking it out. They're like, oh, we can't get up there. It's such a small area. It's such a small crawl space. And like, whoever could do it. And then she stands up and she's like, get the ladder. It's like, really? A 10-year-old? Like, I get it. It's a cool movie line or a cool show line. But for a kid to say that, I think a real kid would have been like, I could do it. I'll do it. Just jump up and be like, I'll do it. But
Yeah.
all right. End of that. End of the nip.
They really did want to make her absolutely discernible. Like, oh yeah, that's Princess Leia from episode 4. Like, this is her. And I feel like she could have had a little bit more growth in the show, in that it's really such a drastic change. In like the first episode, she's always running away and like being on the trees, and they tell her like, you're going to be a senator, you can change things, and she's like, I don't want to be a senator. And then at the end of the show, she's like, I'm doing things my way. I just feel like we could have seen her be more of a kid, but I guess like that's just the stark difference between her and Luke, because Luke, you see very little of him, but he is a kid. He's sneaking off to, pretend to be a pod racer, and he's playing with toys, and meanwhile his younger sister is over here doing politics. So maybe they just wanted to kind of go for that uh what's the word, contrast. But it was, I feel like I wanted her to be a kid a little bit more. I wanted her to be, she's a little girl, she's only 10.
Yeah,
You don't have to make Princess Leia be this wise beyond her years as a child. She's already wise. You could just have her have a good head on her shoulders.
that's exactly what I thought. I thought, let her be a kid. We know what she's gonna grow up to be, and we like her, and we could also like her as a kid. But it's fine. It wasn't bad at all.
She did have a lot of good moments. I really like the when they're on, what planet was it? I can't remember the planet name, but they're pretending to be farmers. And she's like, thanks, Frack.
Oh yeah,
I liked that one. I liked that one a lot.
the one where they get on the back of that.
Like the truck or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really cute.
What was
Where
she supposed to be dressed as at the final episode? They really highlighted her outfit. She had the boots on and the holster.
I think she was supposed to just wear her formal outfit, but she added the holster and the boots. She was like, nah.
That wasn't a reference to anything. Because they really showed, like, they made the camera pan from boot all the way to hair.
I think it was supposed to be a Padme reference to her episode 2 outfit.
Okay.
You know, when Padme's wearing the white outfit on
Yeah.
Geonosis? A lot of Leia's outfits in the show either referenced her outfits in the trilogy, like the green poncho and stuff, or they referenced Padme's, like in the. She's wearing like a purple outfit at some point, and it looks a little bit like her outfit in episode 5 as Leia, but then it also looks like Padme's outfit in episode 1 when she's wearing like. In like the first scene, she's wearing like the guard outfit. It's just, I had these pictures saved and I can't find them.
Uh-oh.
This is what happens when I don't do notes for an
When you wing
episode.
it.
Either way, a lot of her outfits were references to other notable outfits throughout Padme and Leia in the films.
It felt like a Disney World costume dress up. It felt like she was cosplaying as Leia.
I was telling my mom, write that down, like write that down. I'm gonna make all these outfits for my little girl. She was out of all of it, I think she's just so cute. I love her. And I got really emotional toward like in the last episode where Obi-Wan tells her, what was the line where it's like you're resilient and you're compassionate, come from your mother, and your strength and your I can't remember what else he says, like comes from your father. That just, that's so sweet,
Oh
especially
yeah.
from the whole time when she tells him like, are you my father? And some people were I think misinterpreting it. I saw some discourse online saying that when he said like, I wish I could tell you that I was, being that that Obi-Wan has feelings for Padme, but it's more of like,
What in the world?
yeah, I don't understand how people could take it that way. It was definitely like, it's so sad because he's trying to put her mind at ease. Like, I wish I could answer that question in your mind, and I wish I could be that for you, or at least put you at ease. But throughout the whole show, and well, from the first episode where it's like, you're not even a real Organa, like she wants to know where she comes from. She wants to know, her real parents, and to meet somebody that has known them is like, and so for that last bit at the end is just so cute and so heartwarming that she was able to hear that, especially considering who her father really is. Like, no, let her know the best
Yeah,
of her dad.
that's what I did like too. He just gave her the best qualities of him.
Mm-hmm.
not the child slayer
not the
qualities of him.
not the Tusken Raider Slayer,
Yes.
not the Sith Lord that we know him to be.
I have some questions about that too, but before that, I wanted to say, I might be a fool as well because when he said, I wish I could tell you I was thinking that he probably got so attached to her that he wanted to care for her as his own daughter. That's what I thought.
Oh.
But that's wrong.
That's sweet, but you're wrong.
Let's talk about Darth Vader real quick since we can.
Yes.
First of all, I wanted to ask you: is Darth Vader still redeemable?
I was having this conversation with my parents, and
Whoa!
I think part of his whole thing is that there's good in him. There's good in him. In episode 6, I watched episode 6 recently, like with the finale of Obi-Wan. I went and I saw it, Return of the Jedi. He's not redeemed as in like, "Oh, you're a good guy now. We accept you. You're welcome to the good side." He's redeemed in his death, in that, and it's not like as if he's saying like, "I'm sorry for everything that I did," and stuff like that. It's just he loves his son that much that he didn't wanna see him suffer. And so he saves him last minute and, like, kills the emperor. And I think that he is still redeemable, but he also faced the consequences of his actions. He still passed on and everything. Like he committed a lot of acts, a lot of bad stuff, but he met an end that I'm very satisfied with, and I think his whole story is so poetic and amazing to behold.
You keep using poetic. George Lucas would be proud.
That's why I'm using poetic is for George Lucas.
But what do you mean?
It's just
Because when he died, he went to Jedi heaven. He came back as a Force ghost. That means he was accepted.
this was
Bad
before
guys don't become Force
this
ghosts.
was before episode 3 was made. George Lucas hadn't had it in his mind, I'm gonna make him kill children.
This is what I want to ask you because every time Disney has to bring up, they don't have to, but every time they want to bring up Darth Vader again, they gotta show him doing cool stuff. And what's cool for him to do? Killing people. A
Killing
lot of people.
children.
Killing children. So every time he comes up, it looks worse and worse that he got redeemed in episode 6.
I know that, yeah, it's bad. I don't doubt that. And I'm not arguing that, but it's so his whole journey of going to the dark side. What I see is I think what Lucas wants us to focus on and not his like, oh, I didn't account for that. Oh, I didn't account for that. And it's just that Darth Vader or Anakin Skywalker has always wanted a family. He wanted to protect his mom, and his mom was killed by Tusken Raiders. And then he wanted to protect Padme, so he thought, I'll join the dark side to protect Padme. And he's killing those kids because he thinks, oh, this is going to save Padme in some dark, twisted way. That's what he believed. He really, like, I didn't write this. That's what George Lucas is telling me in episode 3, that by
I love
follow
this poem.
it's our poetry and rhymes, that by doing this, by committing, Order 66 and all that, oh, I'm doing this for Padme, and then Padme dies. And then he finds out that he has kids, or he has Luke, he has a son, because he doesn't find out about Leia until the fight with Luke. And I don't know. It's just the way Luke approached it. He approached it with a lot of love. He said, like, I still believe you're my father. You're Anakin Skywalker. I'll never turn to the dark side. I'm a Jedi, like my father before me. I just, that's another thing too, is just like, I'm such a original trilogy preservationist that I'm like, you don't touch these films. These films are correct. Everything else is incorrect.
George Lucas disagrees.
No.
He never corrected the original films.
No.
He was trying his best to correct it.
No.
No, but you're right. When it was just the original trilogy, it looked a lot better because Darth Vader, he didn't have 1,000 books describing how awesome he was at taking down Death Stars with the Force and or Star Destroyers, I mean, and then like killing all these kids and all that. Like it was just those 3 movies, and he was a bad guy, but he was mostly a henchman to Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
And it really did work. He really did redeem himself by taking out the greatest Sith Lord. But now, this is why I wanted to bring it up. Like I think he's been built up to be much bigger than he was intended to be originally. I think because when I first saw the original trilogy, I went in with the mindset of, Star Wars is huge. Darth Vader is the greatest villain of all time. Now let's see this movie that he came from. And in the original trilogy, he just came across as just a cool looking henchman.
Yeah.
But he's done a lot cooler things now since then. But yeah, within that trilogy, it makes perfect sense. Now with everything he's done, I don't know, it's a little bit rough. He snapped that little kid's neck.
Oh, that was so rough. I mean, it's you want to turn your brain off and just enjoy the like whoa like aspect of Darth Vader being Darth Vader. I want to say it would still work because it's like, oh wow, even like this super evil dude can't, turn away his own son and would disobey his master for his son and everything. And it's still nice, but yeah, he went to Jedi heaven. Hmm.
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 He was accepted.
Hmm. The Force works in mysterious ways.
It does.
That was a big thing that I've been seeing people spam about this show is the Force works in mysterious ways, especially with all the fake out deaths in this show.
Oh, we didn't even get to that yet. For me, I just kept saying, no one's ever really gone. That's all of Star Wars.
I just
No
think
one is ever really
it's
gone.
such a slap in the face to have Qui-Gon Jinn in this show where 2 people get stabbed with a lightsaber the same way he did.
What happened with that?
Revenge does wonders on the wills to live, doesn't it?
Do lightsabers not work anymore?
They've been nerfed since Order 66. The only ones who have real lightsabers are Vader and Palpatine. Everybody else just has dull blades.
If this was pre-Clone Wars, if somehow this movie came out pre-Clone Wars, I would be ranting about this right now. But ever since I found out that Darth Maul lived, everything else is like, all right,
But
that
then
makes
why did
sense.
Qui-Gon? That's the only.
That makes sense.
He's the Uncle Ben of Star Wars. He will always be dead.
You never know. I think it could come back.
I love the pose that he was making when Obi-Wan finally saw him. Like he's fed up with all. He's like, I can't believe it.
It was a little awkward how they met.
Oh, it was so awkward.
I wish they were like standing. I wish they were both standing in front of each other or
No,
sitting in front of each other.
I had kind of like a mental image as to how I wanted that scene to play out because I knew from that recap at the beginning where it's talking about like training I have for you. He's like Qui-Gon, like he's gonna
Yeah,
come out. I was like he's gonna make an appearance. In my head, we're gonna go a little rewrite corner here. I saw it as Obi-Wan. He's done with his journey. He's back on Tatooine, watching over Luke Skywalker, and for the first time in the show, he meditates in the Force. And it's when he finally stops running from the Force and realizing that he needs it as a Jedi again, that then in front of him, like sitting in front of him, also meditating is Qui-Gon. And it's like, I've been here the whole
I
time.
like that.
Just something like that. Not like he's on a camel riding away, like, oh, there you are.
Yeah, he just pops up like an ad.
Yeah.
Like, oh hey, like doesn't he even turn around? Like he's like, oh, there you are. I spawned the wrong direction.
Like look at this dude. I want to send you the picture. He has his arm on his side, like, huh? What do you know?
Yeah, I was here the whole time. It was kind of weird, but I guess hey, they got Liam Neeson back.
They got I like his quote when they asked him like, "Oh, you returned for Obi-Wan?" And he said, "Well, I didn't want anybody else to play him."
That's awesome. That's awesome. I like that. But yeah, that's a much better idea. Imagine he closed his eyes to settle into the Force, and then he opens it, and Qui-Gon's right there, sitting in front of him.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's just they could have done it a lot more theatrical.
So you were mentioning this, how Obi-Wan, he had to get back into the Force because he's been ignoring it, we can assume, for 10 years,
Mhm.
right? Actually, yeah, he had to, because I guess
It
Darth Vader would have been able to.
it's like a pull, yeah. It's like I can sense him.
Yeah. So very similar to Luke. Like, didn't he give up on the Force when he was on whatever
You're at
mountain?
on Octu. You know, that's one of the things that I actually really liked about episode 8. For all of its things that I didn't like, I did like that there's kind of a I thought it was such a neat scene, that disconnect of like I don't need it. I don't need it. Like or I can't do what the Force needs me to do, and then the Force just like draws them back in. I think that's such a cool plot line. And in episode 8, it kind of worked, but they could have really made it work here. It makes sense that Obi-Wan would lose faith in the Force after witnessing what happened with Anakin and being kind of on bodyguard duty, where he's like, I don't need the Force to look after this kid, and then like ignoring it and ignoring it.
I agree with that. Yeah, that's true. After all that time, he would figured, it's only brought like evil to my life. It's corrupted my best friend, my brother.
My brother. It's only brought like pain, you know, and because he lost Qui Gon, and I don't. You probably you haven't seen the Clone Wars, the show, right?
No.
In the show, he has a love interest named Satine, and they're not together. What's really neat is that the show highlights the Clone Wars show highlights how much Obi-Wan is similar to Anakin, but how he doesn't make the decisions that Anakin makes. So there's a politician that he's clearly in love with, but he doesn't leave. He doesn't like have a secret relationship. He's like, no, I'm a Jedi. I'm gonna stick with the Force. I have to be called to this, and I'm not gonna pursue anything. But she, spoilers for anybody, you can skip over, do a little fast forward 15 seconds if you don't want to hear this part. She does like pass away. She gets killed in a fight, and he doesn't like turn evil or anything, but it's like, oh, I could have. He has a moment where it's like, what life would I have lived with her if I wasn't called by the Force? So like that's another thing. And then it's like Anakin, I failed him. He had that whole thing of like, I failed him as his teacher. I didn't, this is what the Force has done. If he had a better teacher, he wouldn't have gone down this path, and Padme wouldn't be dead. And like if Qui-Gon had a better apprentice, he wouldn't be dead. It's not told to us, but you can assume that all of those thoughts are in his head. So it makes sense why he wouldn't be in the Force for the series.
I wouldn't say Obi-Wan was a bad teacher, but I did think that he had to become the master way too soon before he was ready.
Oh yeah, it's like the sibling. Like whenever you see the, what was it, like Onward, when he had to parent his brother in a way.
Right. Or like if one sibling is 2 minutes older than the other one.
Yeah, it is like that.
Right.
Yep.
Shout out to Davey for spoiling that the Grand Inquisitor died.
He was telling me that when you were texting him, he was like, "No, I'm not telling you anything until you confirm if you seen it or not."
I almost got him. Oh no, wait, he did spoil some things for me. I did eventually get him again.
Oh no.
You remember? We were online.
He spoiled the Inquisitor, and I think it was "Hello There," where it was like Davey was like, "Oh, it was such a great show," and you were like, "Right? It was a great scene when he finally said hello there." And Davey went, "Yeah, have you seen it?"
Well, first he asked, he said, did I see it? And I'm like, maybe. I didn't give it away yet. And I didn't. I didn't see it yet. He's like, well, what's one of the last things he says? I'm like, hello there. He's like, well, who does he see? So he already confirmed he said hello there. And I'm like, he sees Qui-Gon Jinn. He's like, no, before that, and he just confirmed Qui-Gon did for me. I'm like, I'm just guessing these things. I guess he was saying Palpatine. I wouldn't have guessed Palpatine showed up, but or in this case, he's just the Emperor
Oh,
because Palpatine was never mentioned until. Oh no, he could be
he
Palpatine.
is Emperor
Whatever.
Palpatine. Emperor Palpatine.
In the original trilogy, he was never referred to as Palpatine, right?
Yeah, Palpatine was a very prequel thing that stuck
Okay,
around. Somehow, Palpatine's returned.
awesome. Oh man, Star Wars is just so much.
It's so great.
I hope they tease the next show on Fortnite.
I saved a video of Obi-Wan Kenobi Fortnite skin dancing to Dynamite by BTS. And I just was staring at it like, what a world.
He's in Fortnite already?
Yes, he is.
Oh, they ruin every character.
Him and Vader are in Fortnite.
They already got Master Chief. They already got Spider-Man. They took everyone.
They did. They got Thanos.
They got Mando. Yeah, they got Thanos.
They got they got Mando.
They got Mando.
My Mando.
All right, that's fine.
It's too late to stop it, Tony.
It's self-sustaining now.
It is.
Spider-Man 2 reference. Shout out to all the Spider-Man Raimi fans. So let's move on. Oh wait, actually no, I forgot to mention for the. I will tell you there is, besides Davy, I did get spoiled on two things intentionally
Oh, okay.
before I started the show.
All right.
I knew about the neck snapping thing
Oh.
because I was reading a Reddit thread about it. I think it was about Deadpool or Daredevil, but somehow they all came up because it was about the rated R. You know, they're talking about rated R and how Disney's gonna handle Deadpool, and then how they're gonna handle Daredevil because they announced the show,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "Oh well, Disney's going darker now. Look what they're doing with Vader." And then everyone's talking about that. I'm like, "What? What do you mean?" They're like, "Look what they're doing with an Obi-Wan now." And then eventually I got to it and I found it and they said like, "Oh, he snapped a little kid's neck." I'm like, "What?"
With the Force.
I'm like, "No way." And I just had to look it up. Like I spoiled it for myself. And like I looked it up. And then when I saw it, I thought, "That's it." It almost felt like a comedic way because the little kid, he went, "Oh," just like a quick "oh," and then he just threw his head to the side. I'm like, "No, guys, this is no, guys, no, this is very Disney-fied." It was a very cute neck snap, okay, very Disney-fied.
A very cute neck snap.
Yeah, they were very tame
You're
with
hurting
it.
your folks.
It didn't seem deadly or like horrendous to stare at or
On that
anything like
same
that.
vein, did you see that they already edited out all the blood from Moon Knight?
They did.
Yeah, I saw.
You called it.
I did. I said, "Oh, we gotta watch it now before they edit all the blood out," and I didn't get to it in time. They've
We
edited
saw the blood in episode 1.
just in episode 1, and they've edited out all the blood from the show now. It's all
But I
gone.
was telling you which blood they were going to edit out because you could tell it was clearly CGI when it was on his hand, when it was on the floor.
Yep, yep.
And it was just, they're not going to do rated R, guys. Sorry. They're not going to do it.
Don't hold your breath for Daredevil, y'all.
And also, that other Jedi that they found and hunted on Tatooine, and then they hung him.
Yeah,
You see, they hung him by the waist. You know, they really wanted to hang him by the neck.
they did, but that's so sad.
Yeah.
My heart really broke for those Jedis, man. I played Fallen Order. My heart hurts.
Did you beat Fallen Order?
No, I haven't. I have not beaten Fallen Order.
Oh, all
I
right.
need to though. I think I'm like 75, if not 80% of the way there.
I heard that episode 4 of this show was like pretty much all Fallen Order.
Episode 4.
It's when Obi-Wan was breaching into the highly secure
Oh yeah.
base or whatever.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And they find like the tombs or like the
Yeah.
like the Jedis that they have found and are imprisoning them, or not imprisoning, but like it's weird. They're like what, displaying their corpses?
They're dead, right?
They're dead.
Are they dead?
They're absolutely dead. It's like they're encased in amber like a dinosaur.
But how do they? It's like they got frozen in motion.
Well, this
It's like
is
they captured how they died. But
this is before carbonation soda.
there's no soda on
There's
Tatooine
no soda in
or
Star
whatever this
Wars.
planet was.
There's no soda in Star Wars.
There's only blue milk. We
There's
know that.
only blue milk and Palpatinis. That's it. This is
One
before
Palpatine, please.
one Palpatini with extra dark olives.
Order up. Order 66, Palpatine.
I'll have your Order 66 special, please, with the Sith fries. Thank you.
They ring a bell. He said it. It's on the house.
Everybody opens their lightsaber. It's that guy Dax from episode 2. Wow. What do you know?
Wait, what about that big long neck alien in episode 8? Was that blue milk or was that different? Like
that was
weird giraffe elephant milk.
That was green milk.
Was it pre-blue? Does it mature to be
pasteurized?
Blue? Yeah.
To be blue? I don't know. I don't even know where they get the blue milk from on Tatooine. I don't see any of those animals there unless they're milking womp rats.
They're moisture farming, so they probably have milk powder.
Oh yeah, like evaporated.
They drop
milk.
it in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a little antacid. Just
it's like Dune. Instead of spice, it's just blue powder that they excavate.
It's like a protein shake. You just scoop it out. You put it into your water.
Now that I could get behind. It has all the nutrients I need. I'll do that.
But I'm assuming that for the Jedi Fallen Order stuff, this is before Carbonite, because in episode 5, they talk about how like, oh, now we can freeze them and have them still be alive. Like before, you would encase them and they would die in that encasing.
All right. So you know for sure they're dead.
Yeah.
Do you believe Mace Windu is in there?
No. No.
Did you read about that?
No. I think he probably got hit by a car out in Coruscant, or they're saving him because they love Sam Jackson.
I think he's alive in there, Caroline. I think he's an Amber. I think he is.
Amber alert.
I heard I read the title that said Mace Windu is an Obi-Wan Kenobi ?
Oh my gosh.
And then I thought, oh, here we go again. But I clicked it.
We're in that era.
And then I saw a screenshot, and then if you look in the background, it looks like it's possibly a Mace Windu in the background in one of those amber tubes.
Impossible.
I feel like we're gonna get a Mace Windu show very soon.
Mace Windu, more like Mace Wind don't. Am I right?
Caroline, keep bringing the puns. Is that kind of night?
I don't want to continue doing this, but
you must.
I will do what I must.
You will do what you must. It was right there.
I will try.
Well, as we already know, no one's ever really gone. So
Atala
expect a Mace Windu
show ? Question mark. She can survive that thermal detonator, no problem.
Yeah, she only held the bomb in her hand. That's it.
She only held a bomb in her hand and waited till it exploded.
Darth Maul got cut in half. You saw the life leave his eyes, and he fell 100 stories to the bottom of a pit. He's fine.
Emperor Palpatine was thrown into the nuclear reactor core of the Death Star and blown into smithereens, and somehow Palpatine returned.
This is the power that could destroy a planet, and it combusted it on itself. And he was in the center of it.
He was thrown, he was yeeted into the center of the Death Star. And somehow Palpatine returned.
And he came back with his nails just looking a little janky, but
and
that's
his
fine.
Double chin evolving to a quadruple chin.
What's our favorite of all four of Palpatine? Handsome Palpa? Emperor Palpa?
I love it when we call a big Palpa.
Or Elder Palpa.
I like the attempt on my life has left me scarred
and deformed.
This is not an Obi-Wan episode. This is just us quoting Star Wars for
Or
it.
you like deformed Palpa?
I like episode 6 or original trilogy Palpa. I like pale Palpa.
Pale Palpa in episode
I
6?
like pale hot topic Palpa.
My favorite Palpa is prequel era Palpa.
Of course.
Specifically when they're in the theater, he's like, not from a Jedi.
Did I ever tell you the legend of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
I thought not.
That was him at his best.
That is him at his peak, of course. It is a Sith legend.
So handsome, Papa.
I was talking to Davey, and Davey was like, "Wait, Caroline, how did you learn?" I can't remember what we were doing. I think we were like, "Oh, we were using my dad's compressor or something," and he was like, "Caroline, how did you learn to do that?" And I just went, "Not from a Jedi."
You got Obi-Wan in the brain.
Watching it was so neat week after week. I'm a fan of weekly releases. It was so neat week after week to like, all right, I'm shifting into my Star Wars mode. And then I get hyper fixated for like a day, and then the next day it's like, I miss Obi-Wan.
I saw 4 episodes all at once, and then I saw the last 2 at once. So I basically saw them 2 different weeks just because of the weird schedule I had going on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and I saw it with my stepdad, the first 4. And then I asked him what he thought of the whole show.
I've been waiting the whole episode to hear this.
No, it's actually just really nice. He just thought it was good. He thought it was good, and because his favorite, actually, I think until Thanos, to be honest, his favorite was Darth Vader. His favorite character or villain. I think Thanos overtook that, but he just loves seeing Darth Vader all the time in any context. So he's like, yeah. Then the fight scenes are really good. I'm like, yeah, it was. It was really good.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
One of the can I fangirl about Obi-Wan Kenobi, like him?
Himself?
Yeah, the
ahead.
character.
Yeah.
This show, for all its ups and downs, did not character assassinate Obi-Wan Kenobi. They had one job and they did it, and that is make a show about Obi-Wan Kenobi. He is so him. They didn't light year him. They didn't Luke Skywalker in episode 8 him. They didn't do that. It's him. I really felt like, I'm pretty sure there's like Star Wars apologists out there that are like, oh, he would never do that. But I felt like I was watching Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, no matter what. Ewan McGregor nails him. It felt like there hadn't been however many years since episode 3 to here. He just embodies that character so well. There was a scene where I think it's when they're holding off the Inquisitor, when they're holding off Reva on that planet while Leia's doing her circuit breaker thing, and he's right in front, like blocking shots with his lightsaber. And my mom made a comment like, look at Obi-Wan, he's so fearless, like he's right in front, he's making sure he's protecting everybody. And I was like, no, Obi-Wan is terrified. Like I felt like Obi-Wan, he's terrified, but he would rather be in the front protecting everybody than ever let anyone take a hit. Like, that's just the kind of Jedi he is. Even when he's afraid, he'll still get right out there. And it's just,
that's true courage.
Exactly. He's such a great character. He really embodies a Jedi Knight in all aspects. He's compassionate, he's strong, he's kind when he needs to be, but he's also like quippy. And when he does that pose, when he puts his arm over his head and with the 2 fingers, my heart soared. It was amazing.
I told you about that. Like, that's my favorite fighting stance of his.
Yes.
I can't believe they brought it back.
They brought it back. It's beautiful. It's so good. His character the whole time is so great. I think the only nitpick is that I wish he had a more, maybe it's because they didn't want to draw too many comparisons to Luke Skywalker in episode 8, but I wish he had a more visceral reaction to using the Force again. It just kind of felt like Leia was falling and he used it, and then he was kind of like, okay. Not like, draw it out a little more. Like, I know you haven't been using the Force.
I wanted to see a training montage, like
Oh.
Rocky style,
Ba-da-ba,
because
ba-da-ba.
the first time he fought Vader, we knew he wasn't supposed to win, or
Mhm.
at least be any good in the fight. He's 10 years rusty.
Mhm.
So then when he goes back to fight him in the real fight, the reason we're watching this show, like he didn't really do anything to prepare for that fight. There's no reason why he should be able to keep up with Vader. But I guess the Force was the entire reason. Like once he tapped into the Force, he can compete with Vader again. But I thought he had to like learn how to use a lightsaber again, or learn how to get comfortable with fighting patterns and swinging and dodging. But I guess it just comes naturally once you're tapped into the Force.
Well, also like he's only been out of the game for 10 years and he's been in it his whole life.
Out of the game for 10 years is a long time,
I guess I
no
did.
matter how long you've been in it.
I saw like a side or like a making of for Obi-Wan, and they talked about that for the combat training for the show, like for the action choreography, they didn't have to teach Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen a lot because they remembered a lot of their training from the prequels.
That's pretty good.
So I think we can apply a little bit of that here.
I think it's a little different.
It,
Like if
it,
you're
it
acting and
yeah,
you're
yeah, it's a little different,
I'm
but
thinking about a fight. Like if a fighter hasn't fought in 10 years, he knows how to throw a punch still, and he'll probably knock you out still. But if he goes against another fighter, Darth Vader, who's at his peak, who's been fighting, he's losing.
just not when it comes up against his old master. I did want to see him, maybe not a full training montage, but I wanted to see him have another one-on-one with the Force. I wanted to see him stabilize, I guess, like find his footing, because we do see a little bit of a shift. He's like, you know what, I may have failed Anakin, but now I'm gonna protect his kids. Like I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure that Leia and Luke are safe. And so that kind of shift in his perspective helps him a bit, but yeah, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of a finality in his stance.
I wanted to bring it up when we were talking about episode 8 and how you like the Luke, that tiny story portion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wanted to bring up that I really love the way that they showed the Force when Rey was learning how to tap into it.
Yes, that's just
That was the best.
that was episode 8. I don't want to talk about it like in detail because it's just such a bag of worms, but that is one of the things
I
I
say
really
can of worms and then tie that into possibly
that
watching
is a
can
can
of
of
worms.
worms.
Okay. All
But
right. We're hinting at a future movie. Stay tuned.
McGadwab or can of worms, Tony?
Both.
Oh, tune into El Boo Nudge this October. But yeah, that's just one of the things that I think was done really right in 8 is the Force, the whole way to view the Force. Because some shows view the Force as just like, eh. And then some shows are like, some Star Wars media is like, the
Midi
Force is.
chlorians.
Forget. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about midi chlorians. No.
All right, Caroline.
It's late.
Let's bring it back.
It's late. But it was Obi-Wan Day.
Oh, Caroline, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back.
Let's bring it back. Let's bring it
Let's
back.
bring it back.
You know what, Ton? I think we need
Let's
to
bring it in. Bring it in. All right. I'm done now. I'm done.
What else can we do? I think we need to talk about Reva.
My favorite character in the show.
Are you for real?
I'm very for real.
Whoa. Are you sure you were for real?
Yes. Why? Whoa. Why?
You realize that she is like the new hated character of Star Wars, right? Not by me, but by a fan base.
Really?
Yeah. She's like the new
Why?
Rose Tico.
Oh, dang. So we're not going to see any more of her.
Maybe. I mean,
She could survive 2 lightsaber stabs.
I enjoyed her as a character. I want to preface this before I get to you with what a large portion of the Star Wars fan base thought. I enjoyed her as a character. I really am sympathetic for her background. And I like kind of her growth. I think that I wish they handled it a little bit better, but I do admire it. But yeah, she got a lot of hate, the actress. And of course, Star Wars does this all the time. They did it with Daisy Ridley, they did it with um Kelly Marie Tran. You know, they did it with Hayden
I'm remembering
Christensen.
this now. Yeah, you told me about it before I started watching. I remember now. So she's the one
Mhm.
that they
That
were.
they singled out.
Okay.
And yeah, Ewan McGregor even took to social media and the official Star Wars Facebook, Instagram, whatever, everything, and saying like, we do not tolerate racist comments or any hate towards her. She's a great actress. We love to work with her. Just a lot of people didn't like her character and her. And I'm always a firm believer that you should never, if you don't like a character, that's not the actor's fault. That's the filmmaker and the director. They're the ones giving the instructions and the order and everything. That's not the actual actor. So yeah, that's just preposterous. But she wasn't that bad. I don't even think she was bad. But that was like the whole thing is that's like my biggest surprise of the evening is that you are a huge fan of her because it's so hard to talk to somebody who thinks that way. Everybody that I've spoken to about her has mixed feelings or negative.
Hmm. Well, I'll tell you why. She is the only one that could have gotten anything done in the whatever they call themselves,
Inquisitors.
the Inquisitors. Yeah, the Grand Inquisitors, whatever. And it was actually frustrating because everything she was doing would have been successful if it wasn't for the Grand Inquisitor or like anyone else getting in and messing with her plan. It was so frustrating to watch that.
She's a hustler. She was really like, "Hey, I got this. Let's try this. Let's try that." And they were like, "We don't do that this way." It's like
Yeah, they kept saying all that bogus stuff like the only way to catch a Jedi is by being patient. And then here she is catching them being ruthless and efficient. They called her reckless, I say efficient. She did everything like if they didn't stop her, all those dummies, all the whatever brothers and fifth and sixth, whatever, all that, if they were all just by themselves. If they stood back at base, she would have caught Obi-Wan and killed them. She would have caught Luke and killed them. She would have been unstoppable, an unstoppable force. She would have been the Grand Inquisitor, right hand of Darth Vader in no time. But it was frustrating to watch, and I know we're not going to see Obi-Wan die, and I'm not rooting for the bad guy. It's not that thing either, but she was very determined and focused, and I'm like, man, that is so cool. Everything she's doing is right. She's doing it by brutal force, and she would have gotten the job done if it wasn't for all these dummies that she's surrounded with.
she
Especially when Obi-Wan was about to get away. Like she
yeah.
had him. He would have lost that fight. He was so out of touch with the force and fighting. She would have had him. So that was annoying to watch.
I remember Davey telling me that this is like accurate to the Inquisitors. They're supposed to be inefficient and dumb and not get things right. Like that's supposed to be why you don't see them in the trilogy is because Vader, does away with them himself. He's like, I don't need you.
Uh, is that explaining away what they did, or is that you think they stood true to it was intentionally dumb or accidentally dumb?
Uh, I want to believe it's intentional because the Grand Inquisitor, the bald, pale faced,
Yeah.
he's the main villain in Star Wars Rebels. And
Yeah, I know they brought him over from
I
there.
don't know how accurate his character is because, like I said, I didn't see Rebels, but Davey said it was pretty accurate that the way that the Inquisitors work and like, oh, we're supposed to be patient and wait.
She's also one of the only ones I believe that knew Obi-Wan was alive, or at least felt that he was alive, or right? Didn't the Grand Inquisitor say like, "Oh, stop looking for him"? he's dead, or I don't know why, but he told her to stop looking for him when she was right about that.
I don't
She
think
was on the hunt.
I don't think they think he's dead because he beat Anakin in that fight. But I think that the Inquisitor was just like, oh, he's too hard to catch. We're not trying to catch him.
Oh, okay.
We're trying to catch the little ones.
She could have had him so many times if it
Yep.
wasn't for that meddling Grand Inquisitor.
When they killed him off in the first episode, I knew. I was like, there's no way he's dead. There's no
No
way.
one's ever really gone.
Also, he dies in Rebels. Like, there's no way he's dead here.
Oh, all right. Now you're bringing up something that we have to talk about. That it is a topic of conversation around the show.
Okay.
How much of this being a prequel, quote unquote, affected your enjoyment of this? Because I hear a lot of people saying like, "There's no stakes because we know what happens to all of them." Like, did you feel that intensity when Luke was captured, or when Leia was captured, or when Obi-Wan and Darth Vader were fighting? Like, were you able to be in the moment, or at any point did you think, well, no one's gonna lose this fight necessarily, or like they'll get Leia back, or Luke is gonna be okay?
Yeah, I never felt. That's just I never felt there were stakes. I never felt like like I think episode 5 where it like ends with a close zoom in on Luke asleep and it's like what's gonna happen to him? She's going for him next.
He's gonna go to Tashi Station
Yeah,
in a few
she's
years.
gonna lure him with some power converters. No, I never felt like he's in danger because but I didn't watch the show. Watching a prequel Star Wars, I never feel that. I even like during the prequels with like Anakin Skywalker, even as a kid, I was like, he's not gonna die. He's Darth Vader. Like, I've never felt that. But I'm not here. I'm not here for the stakes. I'm here for character growth and the music, and just to see Ewan.
But that's another thing too. How much can a character grow in between two other stories where the character has to grow and already grew?
Obi-Wan, I firmly in I think that maybe the show maybe mishandled it a little bit, but Obi-Wan does go through some growth from 3 to 4, in that time span. And
It is a lot of time.
but also it's a lot in is in there's this clip. I wish I could show it to you here live, get your live reactions. But there's a clip from Star Wars Rebels where Darth Maul goes to Tatooine
Oh,
and
this guy again. Why doesn't he just stay dead?
I know. But he goes to Tatooine and he encounters it's also because he's trying to hunt down Obi-Wan to like get his revenge. And he finds an old Obi-Wan Kenobi. He looks like Alec Guinness now. And he also sees Luke Skywalker and he sees like, you're protecting him. Why are you protecting him? What's going on here? And it's like Obi-Wan's like, I gotta take you out. You're not supposed to be here. And in just that small clip that we see in Rebels, even though I'm not a huge fan of Rebels, I think it's really childish, but they handled it right here to show a little bit of the growth. You hear the music shift from like music from the prequels. It sounds a little bit like Duel of Fates. It's just kind of like dun 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 dun, and then it shifts to that dun na 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 na, and he goes from his arm above his head with his lightsaber, two fingers out. He goes from that pose to his regular sword stance, Alec Guinness pose from Episode 4, and like just
Oh,
by showing that he's gone from this old Obi-Wan to this newer and wiser Obi-Wan. The from a certain point of view Obi-Wan. And so that already shows like so much growth has happened right there just in front of our eyes. And this show helped a little bit with that from the perspective, especially with that closure with Anakin and how he's like, then my friend is really gone, like kind of thing. So a lot of growth can happen for a prequel character, and I think that that's even why the show was. I don't want to believe it was just for a cash grab, even though it probably was. Like just like, oh, quick, make a character, make a show about Obi-Wan. But that there was a lot of love and thought put into this, and that was the core. uh goal was to show the growth of Obi-Wan between episodes 3 and 4.
So, just to quickly answer the first question, prequels usually don't bother me. I don't care about like where they end up. I am along for the journey as well. But some things tying into what you're bringing up now, I don't really like how they're finding so many ways for it to line up with what happened in episode 4 or like anything that happened in the shows or previously.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say they're pretty clever. They are pretty clever, but it just feels like, so the end of the fight with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, and he tells him like, you didn't kill Anakin, I did. Not those exact words, but
My heart.
every time those moments come up, I basically think like, all right, so they're trimming the puzzle piece here. They're trying to make it fit with what was said in part 4. Because in part 4, let's ignore even the prequels. In part 4, Obi-Wan or Ben, he really did at least think that Anakin was dead.
He said, like, your father was killed by Darth Vader.
Oh, okay. So when, and if we really want to get into it, that was probably the exact truth because that was just the first movie. I don't even know if there was plans for Darth Vader to be the father yet. If that was going to be the twist in part 5. But just things like that is like, all right, so there's a lot of moments. I'm sure you could remember them, but in this show, I feel like that's the only expression I could use. Like they're trimming a puzzle piece, like they're making it fit instead of it just being what it was. So like that clever wordplay and conversation they had is like, all right, now that conversation makes sense because of what Darth Vader said. It was like, oh yeah, he was killed by Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm. And I think along that same vein, that's probably why the plot is that he rescues Princess Leia. Because, like, oh, this is why she names her son Ben, and this is why she's, like, calling out for him in episode 4.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. Yeah, you see, you're remembering a lot more than I am. And then also how, what was it? Something with Luke.
Hello
Well, Luke
there.
wasn't supposed to know about Jedi's, right?
Yeah, he doesn't know that Obi-Wan is a Jedi.
He doesn't know Jedi's exist at all
Yeah.
yet until 4.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so they keep him knocked out for that. Like he never sees a Jedi. He never sees Obi-Wan using the Force.
It even ends with, like, Obi-Wan telling Owen, like, you're right. He doesn't need to know. He doesn't need to be trained.
Yeah. But it just kept on feeling like this was finding ways to make it work with the rest of the trilogy instead of just feeling like a natural extension of it. It felt like it was squeezing into the crevices for
Mm,
me.
mm. I want to be transparent with our audience that I am 100% a fan of that kind of stuff. It's fine.
I mean, I would admit it was cleverly done, and I did like the way that fight ended too. In fact, just similar to episode 3, my favorite moment was when Obi-Wan was going, I'm sorry, Anakin." That was the best part.
My heart. My heart.
But yeah, I've never really been a fan of that because I am the party pooper, and I don't like when we have to keep on going back to Tatooine when it's still connected to Luke, when it's still connected to so many things, and it's like this galaxy has never been expanding ever. It's kept on shrinking and getting more and more detailed in the like smallest unnecessary details. It keeps on making stories about like, oh, who stole the Death Star plans? A whole movie about one line in a title crawl. Things like that.
I definitely see what you mean in that aspect. I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. I love the show. I love what it's doing. But yeah, I mean, and I'm glad that this show was made. I was always looking forward to, even when it was a movie. I love it, but yeah, I have that same want of exploring and expanding this galaxy to make it grander. And I think I've said it before in past conversations to you that Star Wars is so unique in that you could pick any era, any planet, and just zoom in and find a story and like create one and make a new character or find somebody and make it this huge adventure that we'll all be on board for. Like that's what they did with Mandalorian. It was just like, hey, here's this bounty hunter in the outer rim, maybe like couple
Yes.
of years after episode 6, and here's his tale. And yeah, we love it. It's great.
That's why I like season 1 better than 2. It felt like
Its own thing.
finally. Yeah. I was so excited to watch it. And I know I'm not ignoring the books or comics. I know they do very different things. But for the movies and shows, they've never strayed away from the original trilogy or anything that has to do with Luke, Darth Vader.
I think they're scared because of how much love those characters in that story gets, and then they're like, we can't lose money.
Well, I was just gonna bring up I'm sure you saw the news of Taika's Star Wars movie. It's supposed to be completely unrelated to anything that has to do with the original trilogy.
I did see that. I'm looking forward to it.
And my first thought was, yeah, right. I'll believe it when I see it, okay?
You're very wise to go in with that assumption.
I know we're gonna see R2D2 at the end or
I
something.
think whatever movie he's doing right now will be like that, and then once it pops off, the second film's going to be littered with references.
This is also like a chicken and an egg scenario because I don't know.
What came first, the prequels or the memes?
No, no, not even that. No, I'm saying like who wants this more? Do the fans want to constantly have it connected to Luke and have this tiny little universe? And if so, then fine, they're delivering that. Or is it Disney who's doing that? Like is everyone happy with what's going on with Star Wars to like constantly be revisiting Tatooine and these same characters, and is everyone on the same page with that?
I don't think everybody's on that page. Like I said, Mandalorian was such a proof that Star Wars fans, old and new alike, are okay with something different, and more than okay. They love it. People who have never seen I know people who have never seen the trilogies and they watch Mandalorian and they're caught up. Like they love the
And they didn't
Mandalorian.
have to either.
Yeah, yeah. And you don't need to watch the whole trilogy to know that's Luke Skywalker. He's a Jedi. He's going to train, Grogu and whatever. And so I think that there is an audience and Star Wars fans and non-fans alike that are wanting and are okay with something completely new. I really think it's all on Disney and their fear of making something new. And by Disney, I mean Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, the name was dropped.
We had to. We couldn't go a Star Wars episode without mentioning KK.
I never even thought of her until you just brought her up.
It's not Disney specifically. It is a lot to do with her. She does pull a lot of the strings.
I guess you're right.
They definitely have pull. Don't get me wrong. I think that Rise of Skywalker is a huge indicator that they have a huge pool, but she has the largest.
I would assume Disney's letting her have a lot of creative freedom.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, she's the one that approves directors. Like she's the one that fired Colin Trevorrow
Yeah,
and put JJ back in it, back in the game.
and fired
Phil and Lord.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Yep, Lord and Miller.
The more I think about it, and the more time passes, I think that would have been an awesome movie.
I agree. I mean, I'm okay with what we got with Solo. It's okay. It's good. It wasn't a bad movie.
I like Solo,
I like Solo.
especially at home when the brightness was a lot better.
When I can increase the brightness on my phone.
The home release was a lot better.
You like a Star Wars soy wreath?
Oh no, 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 Caroline, no, no, no,
Soy wreath.
no, no, no. We're moving on.
Soylo.
No.
Let's move on.
No, thank you.
Let me show you this. This is in the Obi-Wan comic to describe to our audio listeners. It is Obi-Wan from the last episode wearing his white Jedi robes and his orange, like, cuts off sleeves overcoat with the goggles.
That's orange to you?
I'm sorry, brown. I was looking at his
Oh, all
goggles.
right.
I was. It's
You
late.
were about to blow my mind. Like, we do see different colors, and we all think it's the same thing.
No, I'm not here to prove your color theory correct. His goggles are
No,
orange.
that's not my color theory.
But
But okay,
I
so what is it?
that
Fan art?
that is from the comic book series Obi-Wan Kenobi. I read it, and that's just a neat little nod that they didn't have to do in the show.
Oh, okay. Oh, I gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah, and it's really cute because in that comic series, a lot of what happened in there happened here. In that, like, Obi-Wan goes to the market in Tatooine, and not the market, I should say. It's kind of like a junkyard, and Luke is there with Owen, and he's wanting to buy like this little plane or like a ship from the junkyard, and he goes up to the cash register like counter, and he's like, Uncle Owen, can I have this? And Owen's like, we don't have, like, we didn't come here for that, we came here for like power converters or whatever. And he's like, go put that back.
Nice.
And he's like, oh man. And so he goes and puts it back, and then Obi-Wan like sees that from the, because this is still during the time where Owen's like, you can't come near him, don't come near him. So Obi-Wan goes and he gets it, and then the next panel in the comic is Luke going back to that cashier, that cash register, and the cashier gives him the little toy, and he goes, "Here you go, kid. It's bought and paid for." And he goes, "Thanks, Owen. Like, thanks, Uncle Owen." And he runs out, and in the background, it's Obi-Wan like laughing and smiling that he got his toy.
I thought he would be like, oh, but it was me.
No, he's just happy that he got it.
He should have wrote from your Uncle Ben.
But it's just that's a cute little thing that they brought into this show with Obi-Wan wanting to give Luke that toy in the beginning.
That's pretty good.
It's the little things that make a Star Wars fan happy. It's like
I
being
guess so.
it's like being a Sonic fan.
Because you got to take him when you could get him.
Exactly. Exactly. You got to take the good in with the bad.
Except for those movies. Those always deliver.
Oh, absolutely. For
The
Sonic.
game's not so sure. Yeah.
Oh, Sonic Frontiers is looking pretty good.
What?
Frontiers?
That's the open world one?
Yeah. Have you kept up with the IGN news?
Yeah.
It's looking pretty good. I mean, looks better than the initial response. At first, I was worried, but
We'll
after
save this for the Sonic 3 episode.
for our short form Sonic Frontiers review.
We'll drop it in the beginning of the Sonic 3 review. I wanted to bring something up that I don't know if you thought about or if you even seen this image online.
Okay.
I don't have the image actually. I don't know if I like teed it up to make you think I had an image.
Yeah,
I should probably look it up. Well, first,
you
hold on.
definitely did.
You'll probably know it. You'll probably know it. But when it was the Vader versus Obi-Wan fight,
Okay.
and then Obi-Wan has his arms out and he's force launching all the rocks
Oh
at
yeah,
Vader.
yeah.
Have you seen that picture of? I don't even know if it's a meme, but it's definitely a picture I saw of Jesus blocking rocks. You know what I'm talking about? Then I don't have to look it up. That's the first thing I thought of, Jesus blocking rock. Except in this case is Obi-Wan and he's letting all the rocks pass.
No.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Are you talking about? Hang on. Once it loads.
Once it loads.
Are you talking about this?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. That was Obi-Wan Kenobi.
But he was launching them.
Yes. So is Obi-Wan a wolf in sheep's clothing? He was letting all the rocks go by. He could have been protecting.
He's trying to take out Vader.
He could have saved them, Caroline.
He tried, and he didn't kill.
They were
Anakin.
brothers, Caroline.
Darth Vader did.
He loved him, or so he said.
He didn't kill Anakin. Darth Vader did.
No, no, no. I heard you the first time, and I heard it when Darth Vader said
He
it.
didn't kill Anakin. Darth
He he
Vader did.
he literally never killed him all the chances he got. He only chopped off his legs and arm to let him burn. He
And let
never
him.
killed him though.
He lifeguarded him. He manslaughter. He didn't kill him. He just didn't save him.
That's what Batman said.
Wait, what? Really? When?
Yeah, you remember Batman Begins
Oh my god! Yeah.
with Qui-Gon Jinn?
Yeah. With Qui-Gon Jinn.
I'm not gonna kill you, but I don't have to save you. And then he just flies off the train, lets it crash.
What a big, beautiful world we live in. And
This is like poetry.
it's like
I think George
poetry and
Lucas
rhymes.
visioned this.
Poetic cinema.
Do you see how these images look exactly the same?
I do. You know what though? You know who he is protecting? What you don't see behind him is tiny Luke and Leia that he's safekeeping.
Oh my god.
Also, look at that picture. Look at that pose, man. He's so cool.
Oh yeah, can I bring something up about that fight too?
Yeah, yeah.
I already seen all the edits on YouTube where they added like Duel of Fates or just like more epic Star Wars music.
Yeah. I
And
wish we had.
and I saw people bringing it up like, "Oh, it should have been Duel of
It
Fates."
should have, but we did already have Duel of Fates in episode 3.
And I'm going to say I disagree. I think this fight was beautiful on its own. I think they chose the right music. And I think the musical cue hits just right when he makes his pose, his fighting stance.
That's very true. It was good.
I was captured in the moment.
The last episode is so good, man. It's so
It
good.
is. It is.
It's beautiful.
And it really made me feel like nothing that happened in the other episodes led up to this. It didn't feel like we were building up to this. When Anakin, when he said, Vader killed them, blah, 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 all that, it was so good. I love that conversation. But I feel like we didn't have any of that development. I wanted it to be more focused on them. And I'm going to be a little harsh, but I wish there wasn't no Leia and Luke story or anything. Like, somehow they should have made it more focused on Obi-Wan and Anakin. I don't know how. I'm not here to rewrite it, but it just didn't feel like this fight could just stand on its own. Like, I'm going to be going back and watching this on YouTube every once in a while because it's that good. But I don't feel like I'm missing any context without watching any of the previous episodes because there wasn't much there to lead up to this.
I was thinking about that, and I love Leia, but I do think that she overstayed her welcome. I think that she could have been dropped off in episode 3. Once you get on that transport, episode 2, when he's like, Anakin Skywalker is alive, and they're on that cargo ship.
Yeah.
You could have just, okay, he drops her off at Alderaan. There you go. And then have little rewrite corner. We're coming back to it. Have it be where it's like, oh, but now he's aware of your presence on Tatooine or whatever, or he's gonna follow you back to Tatooine. Like after you dropped her off at Alderaan, he's being chased by Vader, who sensed him, and he's like, I can't lead him back to Tatooine. I gotta lead him somewhere else, and then have this cat and mouse chase between Vader and Obi-Wan, because
I like that idea better.
it was neat because I loved that we got to look into the path, with that all of these
that hidden path.
the force sensitive and on the run Jedis are going through. I think that's so cool. It's got like a little bit of an underground railroad, like kind
That's
of.
definitely what they were going for.
Yeah, I thought that was so neat, and I love that they mentioned it's not just Jedi; it's force sensitive. Anybody who has the potential to be a Jedi is being hunted by the Empire, and you could have really tapped into that, and not put so much focus on having a little Leia there. Even though, like I said, I love her, but we could have moved the focus to something new that we hadn't seen before, and that was this new realm of what's Jedi culture like now during this Empire oppression. And Obi-Wan on his run from Vader is going through what force sensitive kids are going through now, like having to go down the path and trying to find this safe haven, but then that leads him to having to face Vader head on to stop him from following him. And then you go back to Tatooine.
Gotta go back to Tatooine.
He's gotta. It's episode 4. Something like that.
Yeah, at least in that rewrite of yours, there's more time with Vader and Obi-Wan.
And we could have seen some mirrors of, because we just saw Obi-Wan and Anakin while they were Padawan and Master while Anakin was older, but wouldn't it be like kind of heartbreaking to think this is what younglings are going through now? Like they have to hide and be in fear for their life when, like cut flashback to when Anakin was a youngling, when he was training, and think of like those differences, Obi-Wan seeing like his own youngling Padawan to what younglings are going through now. A lot of room for potential there.
I'm also trying to think, like, how would you, because yeah, that does give more time to the story I would have liked to have seen. But how do you develop, using that, how do you develop the story between Obi-Wan and Anakin? Because I know they tried the flashback, and I knew this was going to be a problem because they got Hayden Christensen back, but I felt like he was barely in it.
I mean, he's the thing is he's in the Vader suit, but you really don't see him.
And he's sometimes not in it. Like, for even scenes when he's just walking or standing next to people, I think they had a stand-in for that too, just to get a more imposing figure, I think. But I don't know, I just really liked the conversation at the end of the fight, and I wanted more of that, like that emotion, like that struggle, that whatever it is between them. I want to see more of that. Not the very last episode. I wanted to build up to that, because this was like their civil war again. This is their civil war, and I wanted to see, all right, why? I know it's revenge, and then
It's like it's revenge on Vader's side and closure on Obi's side.
should Obi-Wan have just killed him? Did he mess up again by not killing him?
Should Obi-Wan have just killed him? It's like he can't kill him, but it's Darth Vader.
I know he's not gonna die. We know that, but
I'm
should
thinking of
he
like,
have?
what if we go back in time and kill baby Thanos? Dude, but it's Thanos.
Let's kill baby Anakin.
Let's just go back in time. Are you an angel?
You know how many kids would be alive if we killed baby Anakin?
Luke wouldn't be.
But we have Obi-Wan. We would have Qui-Gon.
We would have Wait, well, did Anakin really play into Qui-Gon's death?
Darth Maul. I don't know. Maybe he's like, yo, Maul, get him. Stick him.
Maybe we should go back in time and kill baby Maul. Qui-Gon would still be
Impossible.
alive.
He doesn't die. You can chop that little baby in half, throw him into a pit, and he'll still come back crawling.
I want revenge.
You'll have baby machine legs.
No, little baby training wheels.
He's not dead yet.
Somehow, Darth Maul's returned.
This baby will rise.
The attempt on his life has left him
Has left little baby scars
little
and little baby deformities. But he's still cute.
little red baby with horns, like me. Rise, my baby apprentice. Baby. From henceforth, you are baby Maul. Malito.
He has a dual pacifier.
He hits a button when it's like da-da. Oh,
that's the lullaby on his crib.
That's his.
Da, da, da.
I would fall asleep to that. Look at that. You're lulling me to sleep. I'm about to go.
We need Baby Maul with robot
We need
legs.
like Muppet babies. We need Emperor babies or Sith Lord babies.
Sith babies.
I want a baby Palpa, baby Vader, baby Maul, baby Darth Plagueis.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
And then like their nursery keeper, like their teacher is Yoda trying to get them to turn good. Sith Lord babies.
Is it okay to strangle a Sith Lord baby?
These are questions that Poe Dameron asks every day.
Also, I don't know why I just remembered, but this wasn't my idea. Just I saw it online a lot. Should Reva have been killed off by Vader like multiple times? Was he going too easy on her?
Nah,
No?
nah. I think maybe he should have killed her when she tried to kill him. That's the only time that I can think of where it's like, dude, why are you holding back?
You know, that was another really good fight.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's pretty good. I do like her. We didn't talk enough about her, but I do like her growth as in have I become him? That was pretty staggering. I liked that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I liked that a lot.
Can I tell you my most emotional scene?
Please.
All right. And you'll immediately know why, because these lines always get to me.
Oh, here we go.
I wrote down the quote. Reva goes, "You really love the boy like he's your own." And then Owen goes, "He is my
My
own."
own. Ah! Owen!
It's like, all right.
All right.
All right.
Didn't think I'd be crying in this Chili's tonight. That's the one of the things that's made me a little upset, but in a non-upset way. I don't know if that makes sense. But
What?
making Owen such a good character. Don't make me get attached to him. He doesn't even have a presence in episode 4. It's just like, I don't want you to go to the flight academy, and then he's dead. And then they're making him such a likable character. It's not fair.
We got to know all these tiny little details, Caroline. We need an Uncle Owen spinoff.
No. No.
Yeah.
Somehow Uncle Owen returned.
But yeah, those scenes, I'm a sucker for those lines.
Owen really, really took in Luke. It's just so good. I think Davies told you this before, but I want to say it on pod. There's a deleted scene in episode 4 of the movie. I mean, not like in this show,
Mm-hmm.
where Luke's friend Biggs goes to him and says like, "Hey, why don't you just join into the flight academy? Like, just go with me." And he says like, "No, I can't leave my uncle behind. He's taken me in as his own since I was born. I can't just leave him like this. I need to stay and help him, even though I want to go and like fight the Empire." And that scene was cut out of the film, but it's nice to kind of, as a fan, if you want to look deeper, you can, and it's there. Show how much Luke and Owen, love each other, and how much Owen really did take care of Luke like his own.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I wonder why they cut that out. Just unnecessary
It
detail.
might be for time. It might also just be because George Lucas is like, I'm just going to kill his uncle. We don't need to get attached to him.
Yeah, we'll forget about him. We'll never see him again.
We'll never see him again. Nobody's ever going to have him be kind of a main character in a show 40 years from now.
Yeah. See, that's another thing Reva would have been successful at.
She would have killed Owen.
She would have killed Uncle Owen. And she would have killed Obi-Wan.
She would have killed Luke. She would have killed Leia.
That was my first thought for the first few episodes. I was thinking I would prefer a show about the Inquisitors from their perspective.
It's just going to be like Arrested Development.
Yeah, it'll be like the Grand Inquisitor. He could be like a turncoat or something, or some sort of, because he's just messing everything up so bad. Reva would have been successful in every mission, but that tension there would have been really entertaining. And then Obi-Wan would have been, the grand bounty, like this is the one we want to get. But then I would prefer that was just when I was initially watching the first few episodes, but that I would have preferred a more focused story on Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I think like when they especially announced like, oh, Hayden Christensen is coming back, it's like we want this to be focused on Anakin and Obi-Wan and their, I guess, their non-closure thing. We got to get them from episode 3 to episode 4. But I mean, I can see why they wanted to add a little bit more, since it's like, oh, well, we don't need to make this show. We got to make a reason. We got to need this show.
Caroline, let's be honest. That's the first thing they were thinking. We don't need to make this show.
Don't say it. Don't say
But it'll be so cool if they fight again.
it.
That was the exact conversation that went on in the conference room.
No.
How do we make them fight again?
How do we make them meet up?
Yeah.
Somehow Darth Vader's got to return.
For me, this was just a YouTube clip kind of show. Like, I don't need anything else. Just like, all right, that's a cool clip. That's a cool clip. I'll watch those on YouTube. And also, I wanted to bring up another example of why I wish this was a little bit deeper, because I brought it up at the very beginning of our conversation. I felt like this show was just very surface level, just like the Marvel shows. They're just like, you know what is good enough. Like, I didn't get too much out of it, but I'm speaking for myself. I know a lot of people loved it, but I personally didn't feel like I got much out of it. And it's weird because this show altogether is probably around 5 to 6 hours, right?
Hmm.
Some of them were 30 minutes. I know that. Some of them were 50 minutes. So let's just say like 5 hours. This is almost the length of the whole trilogy of, yeah, of like the prequels and the original trilogy and stuff. But just to compare it to the prequel trilogy, we saw a recap of everything that happened in the prequels. And it felt like a lot was going on. A lot of memorable scenes happened, and a lot developed over those three movies. And I know a show is made differently, but I feel like not much happened here of importance that I'm gonna look back on and remember. And I've just been missing that with these shows, and I guess they're more considered miniseries. But I thought with having shows on Disney Plus and expanding on these characters, that it would feel deeper. It would feel like we're getting more out of it, and I'm not feeling that with these and with this show. I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like the same length of time, with more time, it should actually feel like more has happened. But I don't know.
On one side of my brain is like the Star Wars shill that loves and accepts everything no matter the quality. It's like, I
Even
love
the
this.
holiday special,
I saw it. I mean, I did not see it. I saw it. Even after
I
everybody
know you
told
saw
me it
it.
was bad, I was like, I'll still see it. It's Star Wars.
I know you saw it, but did you accept it?
I accept that it was made. And then George Lucas immediately tried to delete it from
But did
existence.
you accept into your heart
Like, Jesus?
as a Star
What
Wars
am I
shill?
supposed to say? Jesus? I accept that it is made, and it might be even funny to watch it with friends. It's fast forward a lot of scenes. But, like, for this show, one side of me just loves it. I love Ewan coming back as Obi-Wan. I love the neat little scenes we got. I love that last episode. I love the first episode. I love the, what's it called? The flashback episode. I do feel like this should it didn't have to be 6 episodes. It could have been a movie. It could have been 3 episodes. And a lot of this was just to fill time. Yes, there's a lot of things I would have tweaked, but I think overall, and I would watch these episodes. Like, I would watch them on Wednesday when they would come out, and then the day after I would watch them again. I would be like, all right, I'm gonna rewatch it. I loved seeing it. I loved watching it. I loved feeling part of the Star Wars world again. And I know you said that you feel like it's too like small because they're focusing on a lot of these characters that we already know. I love them so much. I don't care. I like watching them. But then on the other side of my brain, yes, I yearn for more and more creative content, and somewhere out we're in a galaxy far away. I want another story from this galaxy far away. and I want them to handle it with care. I want them to be smart about it. So I definitely see your argument, but I'm also like, this was really good. I liked this show a lot.
No, and I'm glad to hear that. This is what I was asking too. Like, hey, if they're making stuff you like, then what's the problem there?
Yeah.
That's it. That's good. This is just my view on it. Like just with these Disney shows, because I'm not just calling out Obi-Wan, but I really want to feel like I saw Daredevil or Jessica Jones or Better Call Saul. Like when I'm done with those, I'm like, man, that was good. Like I think about it for a long time. It sticks with me. I haven't seen a show like that on Disney Plus where it's just, well, you know what? The two that stick out, WandaVision and Mandalorian, and I've been thinking like, is it because it's the first Marvel show and the first Star Wars show? I
Maybe.
don't know.
Maybe. I mean, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was shot first, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I just mean, these were the
Yeah,
first
yeah, like
ones to
released,
release.
released.
Yeah. But I've been waiting for something like that. Like this was really good. Really, really good. And I've just been getting, oh, that was nice. And then I move on.
I will say though, this Obi-Wan show definitely had a great budget. I never felt like there was bad CG, like really bad CG, or I never felt like there were moments
Until
where,
they did it intentionally with the prequel.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
No, but you're right. And I think this was the best that lightsabers ever looked. They got the
yes,
lighting perfect.
perfect. That
I've never
scene
seen
where
lightsabers like that.
he fights him and throws him into the fire. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, when he was burning Obi-Wan, I'm like, dang, that's poetry. That's poetic. And I started
And
clapping.
when he has the high ground in episode 6 of the show, the last episode, he's standing up over Obi-Wan. I was telling Davey like, now I have the high ground.
Oh, I was looking for the high ground moment. I didn't realize it was Darth who had it.
Yep. Yep.
He should have said it's over, Obi-Wan. No, no, that's they already did that with the I'll do what I must, you will die.
I'll do what I must.
All right. So I'm the only one that feels like that, Caroline. So you felt like you saw like an excellent show.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. No, that's
I
good.
do.
That's good.
I really like this show. I mean, like I said, I enjoy they made it for somebody like me, I think. You don't have to try hard to impress me. You just gotta give me what.
Let's take that quote out of context. I love
No!
it.
I'm just being honest. Like, when it comes to Star Wars, you don't gotta try hard to impress me. I play the Lego games. I watch, like, the Clone War you don't have to. You don't have to try hard.
All right. I like it.
I think that, like, sums up a huge portion of my opinion for the show.
Oh man. All right. That's good. I like that.
I will take any modicum I can to just re-enter the world of Star Wars again. And be like, yes. I think I told
What's the
Davey.
next one?
Ahsoka. Oh, no, Andor. I think it's Andor, which
Andor.
I'm definitely gonna see.
All right.
That's the thing. I was talking to Davey about this. Is with the Marvel universe with their shows, I've been feeling the same kind of fatigue as you have. Is like I don't have to watch everything. I never feel that with Star Wars. I feel like I want to watch everything. And it's because Star Wars, with Marvel, you have that whole thing of like, oh, there's comics and there's all these things you can read into and there's all these characters and stuff like that. But Star Wars is like a home franchise for me, especially because of how long I've watched the series and grown up with it. No matter what I'm looking at, if it's Star Wars, I'll feel like I know it. I know it so well. I know what like these animals are. I know what this planet is. Like I know all of that. So any show will feel right at home for me. And I feel like that with all these future shows coming up, future movies, everything.
Yeah, I think you were always more attached to Star Wars, right?
Always, always. It's just like I said, it's a home franchise for me. I know it better than this is the franchise I know the most about.
I think I've seen more Star Wars Disney Plus shows than I did MCU.
Mandalorian season 1, 2, and 3. Obi-Wan.
There's no 3 yet, unless you call it Boba Fett season. Wait, I'm not gonna...
I gotcha.
Sorry.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening.
You know what? I'm gonna spoil Boba. Who cares? Yeah, he's in it. Yeah, I said it.
And one of it.
Yeah, he made it better too. That was like the only part worth watching.
Davey.
All right,
I'm sorry.
Davey, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, little one.
But search your feelings. You know it to be true, Davey. It was a bad show, Davey.
No. I'm sorry, Davey.
But why did you say Mandalorian season 1, 2, and 3?
I actually forgot that it was Book of Boba and not Mandalorian season 3.
But yeah, season 1 and 2 and Boba and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Dun, 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 dun.
The Mandalorian will return. What, February?
Thankfully, the Mandalorian returned.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Is it too late for us to even talk about Obi-Wan anymore?
I'm sorry, Obi-Wan. I think we wrapped up our thoughts on it. Right?
I definitely did.
Okay, I have. I think I've gushed about it enough. Plus we've been...
I think I... Are you rubbing your hands?
Yeah.
All right. This is a new thing. This is... I've heard the rubbing of the hands like mischievous. How do you say that?
Mischievously?
No. Oh, is that how you say it?
Mischievously?
I was gonna say mischievous.
Mischievously? Are you having a stroke? Are you okay?
Mischievously. Is that a word?
Mischievously.
Caroline, I'm not even that tired.
HSM 2?
Don't say any more than that. Mischievously. That's how you say it, right?
Mischievously? Yeah.
You said mischievously.
Yeah, I say mischievously.
Is that right?
It's not wrong. Mischievous? You're acting mischievous. Mischievously.
Is this like tomato?
I think so.
All right. I hope so. I don't want to go back.
It's like caramel and caramel.
Ourselves.
Pecan.
No, it's caramel.
Pecan and pecan?
Pecan and pecan is true. But caramel and caramel, it's spelled caramel.
I hear, but you have to say caramel. But like they just shorten it and say caramel.
Oh, all right. So that's the wrong way.
Yeah, I say caramel.
I say caramel too.
I have met people that say caramel.
Let them know.
But
they're wrong.
Pecan or pecan?
Tornado.
Potato.
GIF.
Oh, it's Jeff. It's Jeff. We're gonna lose like half our followers, but it's Jeff.
I'm sorry, everyone, but it's Jeff.
It's Jeff. You don't go to a gym. You go to a gym.
Oh, we don't have to use that example. There's a lot of...
I'm just using one, but yeah. Rubbing my hands mischievously.
I just go by what the creator said. He said it's Jeff.
He said it's Jeff.
That's the end of the story.
Yeah.
Right there. All right. And I guess that's the end of this episode.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you're hearing us on your favorite podcasting platform, give us a follow or hit the bell icon if you want some notifications. An honest review if you're a returning listener. If you're hearing us on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. And I know this is at the end, who will hear it, but Josh, you probably will. If you have any suggestions, email us at elbownudgepod@gmail.com.
Well, we got one from Josh already. Don't say it. But indirectly, right?
Yeah, indirectly.
Yeah, we'll do it.
In passing conversation, yes.
Yeah, we'll do it. We have to talk about our schedule. All right, but that's it. Yeah, thank you for listening, everybody. I think this was a good talk.
Yeah.
We got to do Star Wars again.
Da-da-da.
Okay, goodbye.